Good morning, fellow Toastmasters,
Good
and
morning.
most welcome guests. Have you ever had a conversation and you felt completely in sync with the person you're talking to? Or perhaps the opposite, where the other person just doesn't get your message and it seems like there's almost a wall between you and the audience, like every word gets lost in translation. So, how is it that in some cases your audience just gets what you're trying to say, and in other cases, they just miss the mark? Today, I want to talk about the different communication styles out there. But more importantly, I want to talk about how it is important for you to recognize your unique style and how it impacts your interactions with others. So, I want to start by saying that communication is much more than just an exchange of words. To me, it's almost like an art. It's your body language, your posture, your facial expressions and cues, your intonation and inflections. It's about connecting with others. And you do have nonverbal communication, which is the verbal words that the nonverbal communication, which is your body language, or your verbal communication, which is the words that you actually say. Although I'm fascinated by the topic of body language and everything about nonverbal communication, today let's focus on the words aspect of it. So there are four different types of communication: direct, assertive, direct, supportive, initiating, and analytical. Now, the direct communicator is the one that is independent by nature, very confident, enjoys challenges, and very result driven. Then you have the supportive one. The supportive communicator does not like conflicts, is a really good observer, and has great listening skills, prioritizes nurturing relationships. The analytical type really likes structure, very meticulous, cautious, needs all the detail before they make decisions, and overall doesn't really share their emotions. And then you have the initiating type. So the initiating type is the social butterfly. They come to you at a party and say hi. They are spontaneous, fast-paced, enjoy interactions with others very much. Now, part of my project when I completed my project in Toastmasters was to take a quiz to figure out my communication style. And I scored the highest as a direct communicator, closely followed by the supportive one. And I was pretty surprised by the results because both types are pretty opposite. The direct communicator is outspoken and pretty extroverted, and the supportive communicator is more introverted and focuses on nurturing relationships. So as I pondered on my results, it actually started to make sense. My natural style, which is the supportive communicator, stems from my personality. As a kid, I was very shy, introverted, didn't like conflict, kept it to myself. But as I grew older and moved to the US, which was a momentous moment for me, I learned to put myself out there. I was about 20 years old, didn't have friends, no family, new environment, new culture, and I had to make friends, network, and get a job. So my style really transformed from more of a supportive style to a direct style. Being a direct communicator has been very helpful in many aspects of my life. For example, when I entered the workforce in a startup, as you know, startups is very fast-paced, and quick thinking, quick decision making are skills that are highly valued. So I was really good at conflict resolution and meeting tight deadlines, which definitely helped with my career growth. But as a direct communicator, I also had to learn to tweak my approach sometimes in the way I speak to people, if you know what I mean. You want to avoid being too direct, too blunt, or appear impatient. So I had to learn to embrace more of my supportive side, especially when working with other colleagues on projects where I felt so frustrated by the deadlines that were not being met because I had to depend on other people to work and to make this happen. So being a direct communicator means heavily disliking being dependent on other people, but I had to adapt my style so that I would work and be in sync with my teammates. Outside of work, even in my private life, my boyfriend many times mentioned that I have to open myself a little more, share my feelings. He's very much of a supportive type, so loves to share his feelings, very into words of affirmations and physical touch, and I don't like sharing my emotions. So I had to learn to embrace again many other sides of my communication style, even though the direct one is my main style. I had to learn to switch depending on my environment, the context, the people I'm talking with. And so different environments, different people, different contexts, like I said, require that you switch gears a little bit. After all, you wouldn't speak to a 6 years old the same way you speak to your bestie or to your boss. And if you do, then you might want to take notes on my speech today. But overall, adapting your styles is much more about building rapport with others, more than making sure your message is clear. You want to build rapport. And so if you're not aware of your style, or if you are curious about different styles out there, you can take the Toastmasters test, which is available to everyone and full of insights. Or there is the MBTI assessment that is very known. The DISC, D-I-S-C, is another one that's pretty known and even used in schools to help teachers understand students' learning styles. And just like me, you might be surprised of what you find out. Thank you.